You made a few allusions to the work you've done with human trafficking. Can you tell me how you first got introduced to that world, and then also why did you go further into it? Because for so many people, knowledge of that would be so emotionally uncomfortable that they wouldn't lean into it. And when you first told me about that on your podcast, I was like, wow, that makes you unique. I'm not saying successful, I won't accuse you of that again, but it makes you unique because you're leaning into something that's extremely uncomfortable and extremely painful, especially to put your life into it, because I know you've made documentary films about that and you've really made a lot of content about that. Can you tell me about your journey with this terrible issue that's happening in the world?
I met a woman by accident one day and learnt about her story. So I used to be part of something called the Global Sustainability Network, which was a group of people that got together every Saturday here, and we would talk about what we could do for Goal 8 for the UN Sustainability Goals, all of us trying to give back. And they would bring speakers in. And so they brought this guy in called Kailash Satyarthi. And Kailash won the Nobel Peace Prize. And he saved over 80,000 children from child slave labour. And I sat and watched him talk. There's 30 of us in a room and he's talking. He's got some slides for us to look at. And my jaw was on the floor. I was like, what a selfless human being. He went out, he was shot at, he was attacked, all this kind of stuff happened to him. And he did this great work, and I was so inspired by him. And then the next week, this lady called Maria Conceição came. And Maria was born into poverty in Portugal. After a long story, which I won't bore everybody with right this minute, she got into big Emirates cabin crew here, went to Bangladesh, saw the kids in the slums on a layover, and she just promised to help her family. She needed to help somebody. She came back here, sold her possessions, went back there to help one family. And then she Googled, how do you raise money for charity? And the first thing that came up with Google was climb Mount Everest. Maria's never been in a gym. She's never done anything like that. But her brain was, what? So if I climb Mount Everest, I can raise some money. And I'm not talking about base camp, I'm talking about Mount Everest. If I climb this mountain, I can raise some money, which means I can help more children. Now, anybody else that goes to Mount Everest goes 8,800 meters, the biggest, most scariest thing in the whole wide world. You know, the expedition's going to be like this. Maria, this was in the way of helping children, so I better climb it. She'd never climbed another mountain.
Wow.
Most people climb other mountains and then get to Everest. She started with Everest. Won a Guinness World Record for the first Portuguese woman to climb Mount Everest. Made money, helped kids. Better Google that again. How do you...
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
Raise money for charity. North Pole. Better do that then. Again, one after the other to help kids. And she'd taken 600 children from the slums of Bangladesh, taught them English in a school that she built and paid for, brought them to Dubai, got them scholarships in schools so they could stay here to give them an education because she made a promise to their parents that she would help. And I just was exposed to this human being. And I couldn't believe that this little Portuguese lady had done all of this. And so I got to know her a bit, I spent some time with her, and after a few months she said to me, would you like to meet some of the girls? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, well, where do you want to meet? And I'm like, anywhere, tell me. She said, well, I said, Mall of the Emirates, we'll take them to Mall of the, yeah, okay, fine. So I'm in Mall of the Emirates by the ski slope, if anybody knows that area, and these 12 Bangladeshi children come running over to me, wrap their arms around me, hi Mr. Spencer, how are you? And Maria's following behind. And I've got these beautiful kids, and I'm like, wow, how cool is this? And I'm right, who wants ice cream? And they're like, yeah. And Maria says to me, we can't have ice cream. I'm like, why not? She said, they've never had ice cream. It might not agree with them, so maybe we could just avoid that because it might not work. I'm like, they can't have ice. What do you mean they've never had ice cream? She's like, they've never had ice cream. And I was like, I was in that moment, I was like, wow. So we took them to the fun fair, and I watched them in the fun fair. It was an amazing experience. Then I wrote on Instagram, is anybody got 3 hours this afternoon spare that can come and help me with 12 children? I don't care who you are, I don't care where you are, but if you've got 3 hours, I'd really appreciate it. One guy called Loai, who owns a company called Provident Real Estate, messaged me. He said, where are you? I said, Mall of the Emirates. He said, I'll be there in 30 minutes. Dropped everything, came and helped me. And Loai and I spent the afternoon with these 12 kids. We went into the hypermarket in Carrefour. We got 4 trolleys and we said, right. I said to Maria, what do they need? Let's get them what they need. She said, everything. I'm like, what does that mean? She said, they have nothing. What they're wearing is what they have. Wow. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? She's like, nothing. So we went through and I'm like, girls, get yourself some pajamas. And they look at me and they're like, what, to keep? And I'm like, and they're like, each? I'm like, yeah, get yourself some sneakers. And we filled up these 4 shopping trolleys with everything that they would need, female hygiene products to hairbrushes to fascinated by hair clips. These kids never seen hair clips, fascinated by ladybirds and strawberries and this little stuff. Fascinated these kids. And we shopped, and their bewilderment, and they were mesmerized by the fruit section. And I'm like, guess, eat some fruit, let's eat some grapes, let's have some fun. And they were just, this was just a magical experience for them. And we got to the end of it, and Loai insisted on paying for it, but he'd given up his afternoon, and these children had the experience of a lifetime. And I just knew in that afternoon, I knew I had to try and forge a connection with them and try and help them. So the next thing that happened is, and it's really important that I tell this story because it's important to understand these children. There's a guy called Tyrone Reed who's here in Dubai. He's the CEO of Emirates Catering. He was the CEO of another company before, and I said to Tyrone, your company has in Dubai Mall a shop called Candylicious. I would love to take the children to Candylicious one day. Would that be okay? And he's like, sure. He said, meet me at the restaurant next door to Candylicious. I goes, let's buy the girls some lunch. I'm like, oh, that's so lovely of you, thank you. We met, bought them lunch, we went to Candylicious. He closed Candylicious for them. Gave them a VIP tour, and he said to all of the girls, you can have whatever, this shop is now yours. You can take everything from this shop if you want, or you can take one thing. It's yours. Whatever you want is yours. They learned to make candy and stuff, and none of them took anything more than a small bag. And we came out and we were like so grateful to him for doing that. Thank you so much. He said, it's not over. He said, who wants to go to the movies? The kids were taken into a private screening of Aladdin with butlers all lined up to serve them in the cinema. Just magical. And then I came out of there, who wants to learn to ice skate? The kids were learning to ice skate, and they'd never been on ice before, and so they've got ice skates on. They've never done this before, and they have this experience. Which my kids, if I took them to ice skate, would be that was fun. If I took them to the movies, that was fun. Candylicious, that was fun. But these kids, it was everything. And you realise that you can do very small things that we take for granted and make a huge difference to people. And I knew in some capacity I needed to tell Maria's story to more people. I needed, because she was incredibly shy. I'm like, I'm going to get you on podcast to tell your story. And she'd be like, terrified. She's learnt better now, but she was terrified. I'm going to get you on stages where you can tell this story. It's really important. This is overwhelming.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting-edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside, I view, is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.